Hello everybody and welcome back to Dice Check. I am Matt and today we're doing something very stupid. Well, it's not stupid, it's just that we're doing a Harlequins tier list. I know, it's weird. There's only like 8 models and everything is like an S tier. But for this particular tier list, what we're gonna do is we're going to try to be as thorough and as hard as possible. That sounded sexual. We were gonna be as thorough and be very, very anal about, that's even worse. I'm gonna be very, very strict with their rankings. Just like every other tier list, we're going to start from the HQs, over to the troops, elites, fast attacks, heavy supports, the dedicated transports. Boom. So let's just get right into it. We are going to start off with our HQs. And for our HQs, the very first one that we're going to talk about is the Shadow Seer. Now, the Shadow Seer is a really, really good model. Moves 8 inches. She's just really, really good. She's our only psyker. Because she's our only psyker, she has very, very, very pivotal psychic powers like Twilight Pathways, Veil of Tears. You're usually going to give her a pivotal role. She's such a good model. You can give her the Shadow Stone, and when you give her a Shadow Stone, you can make all of her not only psychic powers, but also her aura abilities increased by 3 inches. So if you give her a pivotal role for both Shield from Harm and Veil of Illusion, they now become a 9-inch radius instead of, or a 9-inch aura instead of a 6-inch aura. And when you go from 6 inches to 9 inches, generally what happens is that since you measure from the model from 9 inches out and then 9 inches behind, then that's an 18-inch fucking aura that you have in order to protect your units from, getting that juicy -1 to wound rolls, and also your 6-inch range that you subtract from people with Veil of Illusions. So she's a very, very great model. You can also give her relics like the Domino Shroud. So then if she ever does get into melee combat, like if she gets off guard, if somebody charges her or anything like that, you can use Domino Shroud to lift her up from the end of the charge phase, because it activates at the end of any single phase that you want. So at the end of a charge phase, if somebody charges her, you can pick her up and then move her 12 inches away to keep her out of harm's way. So it's a little nice buffer that you can give her. And yeah, the Shadow Seer is like a linchpin unit. Unfortunately, though, if we're looking at just pure stats and, just looking at the model herself, I don't think that she is an S tier unit. I'm gonna put her into the A tier. The reason why I put her into the A tier is because even though she has all these different aura abilities that she gives off, fuck it, I'm gonna put her in the S tier. She's just really, really good. She has so many good auras. She's going to be an S tier. She's a psyker. She gets to cast 2 psychic powers. She gets to deny a psychic power. Twilight Pathways is such a good psychic power. However, because of the nerf that GW came out with, but she's still a linchpin unit. Most of your army is going to revolve around her. Even if the Shadow Seer does die, though, you still have another HQ that is also really good. A lot of your HQs are going to be very, very important when it comes to Harlequins. Just because you get stuff like your pivotal rolls, and your pivotal rolls are so good. You're going to be spending like 2-3 CP on just pivotal rolls. But she is definitely an auto take unit. She's an auto take model. You always want to run her if you're running Harlequins. If you don't run her, yeah, I feel like that you're kind of like handicapping yourself because she's so good. And on top of that, we have another unit that's also really, really good and a must take, which is the Troop Master. Oh my god, the Troop Master. I love the Troop Master. I think the Troop Master is even better than the Shadow Seer. Now we're gonna, guess what, guys? The first time that we recorded this, the recording got fucked up for the wide shot. So we're re-recording. I'm re-recording this intro part, which means that now I'm gonna be in different clothes for the rest of the video. I apologize. This computer, there's not even a tier list on this computer. It's actually just the wallpaper. I'm not even doing anything on here. It's just gonna change into my other clothes. Here I go. Ooh. There is one HQ that you definitely need to take all the time, which is the Troop Master. The Troop Master is straight in the S tier. I fucking love the Troop Master. One, I love running Frozen Stars, so this is a little bit biased towards me, but I think that hands down, the Troop Master is more important than the Shadow Seer. The Troop Master gives your units reroll failed wound rolls, which is amazing. It's a 6-inch aura. You can also give them Twilight Fang, which is an incredibly good melee weapon. Since, you know, every time that's a new round, like whatever round it is, if it's round 3, you get 3 extra attacks. It's just insanely good. Flat 2 damage. You can also give him the pivotal roll for Darkness's Bite, which then you can also slap 2 mortal wounds onto somebody. And you still have a fight against stratagem, so you can... No, wait, do we? Harlequins still have a fight against stratagem, so that means that you can smack one place and then smack another place and then deal 4 mortal wounds in total. Or you can split up your attacks and say, hey, 3 of these attacks are going to go into this model, or 1 attack's going to go into this unit, and then the other attacks are going to go into this other unit, and then whichever unit that you attack, you can choose to use Darkness's Bite on. So... really, really good. Advance in charge, fall back in charge. Your Harlequins, 4-up invuln. The only thing that sucks about the Troop Master is that if you bring 2 of them, only 1 of them can bring the Twilight Fang, and then the other one has to equip themselves with like a Caress or a Kiss, which isn't as great. But he's super, super cheap. With a Twilight Fang, I believe he only costs like 65 points. That is dirt cheap for an HQ that does this much. It gets Lookout Sir as well. Yeah, and like the only cons that I'm seeing for these 2 units is literally just that they have a T3, or that they're toughness 3. The only thing that I see wrong with the 2 units so far is that they're toughness 3. But I mean, all of your infantry is going to be toughness 3 anyways. And with the 4-up invuln, which doesn't matter too much, especially when they're near the Shadow Seer, giving them that -1 to wound. But the Troop Master is just a pivotal piece to your unit, especially if you're running melee heavy Harlequins list, which is probably what you're going to do. You're probably going to be running at like a small group of 5 troop players, or maybe 30 troop players or something like that. And you need that reroll failed wound rolls. It just increases your efficiency by so much. It's such a good unit. I love the Troop Master. Definitely an S tier. And that's it for HQs. That's it. That's all we got. Those are the only HQs that Harlequins have. Yeah. SNA. Boop. Now let's go over to the troops. And we only have 1 troop, and they're called troops. Troop players. I mean, like, they're called troop players, but everyone just calls them troops. I don't like calling them players. I just call them troops because fuck it. Troops. This unit, this is an S tier unit. I love troops. Troops are such a good infantry unit. Advance and charge. Fall back and charge. If you haven't noticed already, a lot of Harlequins can fall back and charge and advance and charge. But they're S tier just because of all the stuff that you can deck them out with. You know, you can equip them with Caresses. You can equip them with Kisses. You can equip them with Fusion Pistols. Or just keep them Shuriken Pistols. Or you can put them with, like, Power Swords. Or just regular swords. So you could just make them bare minimum and just have them be Action Monkeys. Or you can deck them out and make them absolutely destructive towards your opponent. A 10-man blob of troops will literally kill almost anything in this game besides Mortarion. Especially if you couple them together with the Troop Master. They get 8 inches of movement. You can be Twilight Pathwayed with the Shadow Seer in order to get double move, along with your Advance in Charge. You can also give them a 3-up invuln. It's either you're going to take them as a 10-man blob, or you can take them as small 5-mans. You can just make it so then you want to run like a Fusion Boat list with a Soaring Spite, or you want to run some type of Frozen Stars list as well. Troops are going to be a key unit for your army. They are just incredibly powerful. You also have access to like certain stratagems like +1 to wound, or +1 damage, fight again, curtain fall. So that it's like they look weak on paper because they're only T3 with a 4-up invuln. But the thing is that when you stack all of these different abilities together, you know, like your -1 to wounds, your removing 6-inch aura, your like jank feel no pain in your Frozen Stars Warlord trait, you know, sometimes you can be -1 to hit. You stack all these things together, And then on top of that, Harlequins choose when they want to fight. It's really hard to trick a Harlequins player into fighting a battle that doesn't go out in their favor. So they always choose the correct fight that they want to take. They don't take fights that they don't have to take. And that's what makes troops so powerful as well. So yeah, it's good. Plus, they have access to D3 weapons or 1 damage weapons. So 1 damage weapons if you're against something like Death Guard, or D3 damage weapons if you're up against something like Marines. And they have just a massive amount of attacks. I mean, like, you can put them in Frozen Stars, and a group of 10 gets like fucking 50 attacks or something, which is insane. If you have 5, they get 25 attacks. Just an insane amount of attacks that you're making, and you're hitting on 3s. So just a good unit. And they ignore terrain and buildings. S tier. Everything should be S tier. So that's it for troops. We're done with that. Let's move over to dedicated transports, and let's talk about the Star Weaver. The Star Weaver, no surprise, this guy's gonna be an S tier. Star Weavers are just an incredibly good transport, probably one of the best transports in the game right now. They are naturally -1 to hit. They move 16 inches. They can auto advance another 6 inches, which means that they can just move around the board as much as you want. You can drop off units. You can move up the board in order to get engaged on all fronts. You can have them just bump something in order to tie up a unit. And they're also open topped, so you can take fusion pistols with your troop players, put them inside of the Star Weaver, and then shoot them around the board. If you're running something like Soaring Spite, your fusion pistols now become assault weapons instead of pistols, which means that you can advance with them inside of the Star Weaver and still shoot. They can fall back and shoot. The only drawback with the Star Weaver is that it can't advance and charge, and it cannot fall back and charge. One of the only units in the Harlequins Codex that can't do that. But it's also one of the only units in the Harlequins Codex that is T5. So take that with what you will. Its capacity is 6 units, so you can put like 5 fusion pistol troops inside of it, and also a character, so that you can put something like your Troop Master inside of it, or your Shadow Seer inside of it. If you're running Soaring Spite, you could put in your Troop Master, and with the Troop Master, you can have him disembark even after the transport has moved, so you can drop him outside of the transport, make a charge, kill something, move back towards the transport, and have him re-embark inside of it with one of their stratagems available to Harlequins. So just a huge amount of flexibility with this unit. I mean, like 16 with 6-inch advance, just automatically, like you're getting a 22-inch movement just right off the rip. That is crazy good. You're just gonna be dominating the board with just board presence, controlling your objectives, and making sure that your opponent just doesn't, you're gonna be on the board taking objectives before your opponent knows what they're gonna do with your army. So yeah, really, really good. Okay, and that's it for our dedicated transports. On to our elites. For our elites, we have the Death Jester. The Death Jester, I'm gonna put him in A tier. Now, when I was making this list, I was gonna put him in B tier just because I was like, dude, if everything's gonna be S and A, maybe I should put the Death Jester into B tier. So you can say that he's either B or A tier. For me, I absolutely love the Death Jester, and so I'm putting him in the A tier just because I think that the Death Jester is so good. He has a 24-inch gun, which doesn't really matter because you're gonna probably put him inside of a Star Weaver anyways, and then you just fly him around the board and just like shoot at stuff. But like he gets to turn off Overwatch for free. He doesn't even have to wound somebody with Humbling Cruelty. All he has to do is just hit something. As long as he lands a hit, and he hits on 2s anyways, except, you know, if you advance, then he hits on 3s. Oh, wow. But you get 3 shots hitting on 3s. The chances that you're going to fuck it up is pretty damn low. All he has to do is just hit 1 unit, and that is it. After he hits a unit, then they cannot do Overwatch, which is amazing. If you couple him with Craft Worlds, where they can have someone's movement, and then you have the Death Jester as well, subtracting 2 inches from their movement, you can stop something that moves really fast from moving all the way across the board. You know, something like Mortarion, right? You could just be like, no. You're only going to move 4 inches, and that is all you're getting. So, great unit. Absolutely love him. He also does stuff where you can mess with morale, which is kind of good. It's a little bit gimmicky. I don't think that it works out as much as people want it to. I don't think it's that great, honestly. I think it's just okay. So, I mean, like, that's fine. If you're playing against somebody that's new and doesn't know how to play, you're probably going to win anyways because you're playing Harlequins, which is a more confusing army to play against in the first place. But if you're playing against a seasoned veteran or somebody that knows how to play the game, and you hit them with your Death Jester and you mess with their morale and you pull like a unit that they didn't want you to pull, it'll be hard for them to mess up their unit coherency, I guess. I don't think it's that great. He's literally only there just to make sure that you turn off Overwatch, and that's pretty much it. He's a good support unit. That's how you sum up the Death Jester. He is a great supporting unit. Also, the Death Jester only costs 50 points. He is only 50 points to turn off Overwatch. And he also ignores Lookout Sir if you really want somebody to be a sniper unit. Messes with morale, all that good stuff, only for 50 points. What the fuck? This guy is so good. I would put him in S tier. Like everything else, I would put him in S tier, but we're trying to be as strict as possible. On to the Solitaire. The Solitaire is cool. But we're gonna put this bitch into C tier. C for cool. Kind of cool. I like the Solitaire. I think that's cool, but at the same time, he's kind of like a worse Troop Master, and he's more expensive. A Troop Master costs like 65 points, whereas the Solitaire costs like 105 points. You put him, obviously she has every single weapon in the Harlequins Codex, the Caress, the Kiss, and the Embrace. And she can move 12 inches, which is insanely cool, especially when you put Blitz in with it. So she gets 12 inches plus 2d6 as her movement. So on average, you're moving like, 19 inches per turn without advancing, because you can't advance if you use Blitz. You can also do something where you can give her a pivotal roll where she can deep strike in 9 inches away and roll 3d6, dropping lowest. You can also make it so then she's -1 to hit in combat. Also, with the Solitaire, you have a 3-up invuln. It is like the only unit that has a natural 3-up invuln, so that's pretty cool. She's fine, but she's just a little bit too expensive. Like, she'll mince up a unit. She can get 10 attacks when you activate Blitz with her, which is decent. But it's only with a Caress, a Kiss, or an Embrace. So honestly, I don't think that she's that great. I think that she's cool though, and you can only bring like one of her. So, meh. All right, moving on. Let's talk about our fast attacks, which are our Skyweavers. A lot of people love Skyweavers, and if you're running Soaring Spite, you're gonna love Skyweavers. I'm actually gonna put them in the B tier. Now, Skyweavers are good. Now, there are some drawbacks to them. They do cost 275 points for 5 of them. They only work in a meta where you are up against people who are running vehicles. If you're not running vehicles, their efficiency definitely drops super, super low, because you're gonna bring them with Haywire Cannons and probably Zephyr Glaives. Zephyr Glaives are strength 4. They only give you +1 to your strength, which makes them strength 4. So that means if you're going up against things like Marines, you're wounding on 4s, re-rolling the wound roll. If you're a Troop Master, which you're probably gonna bring 2 Troop Masters anyways. So, with that, you get 20 attacks, re-rolling the wound roll. They hit on 3s, so you could possibly kill them because it does deal 2 damage, right? Which, is fine. Like that, it's okay. If you're not going up against vehicles, they do fine. They can do okay, especially if you're running them as Frozen Stars. They do get blast, so if you're up against things like Orcs, you do get your max amount of shots with your Haywire Cannon. I absolutely love Skyweavers. Don't get me wrong. If I could, again, I would put everything in S tier. But yeah, those cons kind of really push them back a little bit. 275 points for a group of 5 is a pretty hefty task, especially when troops already cost like 220 points for a full group of 10. And then on top of that, you're adding in the Skyweavers as well. It can be a little bit of a hassle. Yeah, these units are, the Skyweavers, really, really great. I would put them in A tier. But I feel like that there would be nothing in. I'm gonna put them in A tier. Fuck it. Yeah, we're putting them in A tier. I put them ahead of the Death Jester. They're just really, really good units. They don't even have to kill something in order to be valuable. They can tie stuff up in combat. They are -1 to hit when they're being shot at. You can bump them up to a 3-up invuln. Actually, I'm gonna put them back down to B tier because I completely forgot. The reason why they were really, really good to begin with wasn't just because of the Haywire Cannons. It was also because you can Prismatic Blur 2 of them at the same time, turn 1, double move 1 of them, and move 1 22 inches, and then have one move 16, and then double move again. And then move again for another 16 inches of movement in order to do an advance and charge on T1. And you used to be able to have them both be 3-up invuln. Now only one of them can be a 3-up invuln, and then the other one is a 4-up invuln. So with a 4-up invuln, it can hurt a little bit, you know, when you lose one. If you whiff in melee combat, it can be a really big hassle. Of course, you can still do things like curtain falls, but as Harlequins, a lot of your stratagems that you're using do cost a lot. You do burn through CP very, very heavily in this army. So, you know, spending that extra CP in order to do curtain falls in case you mess up, that's gonna hurt you in the long run. Also with Skyweavers, what you can do is that you can play a little bit of some mind games with your opponent with your redeploy stratagems. You can put them all the way in the back of your field, and you can take your entire army, just tuck them all into one corner, the farthest away from your enemy, and then if you get first turn, you could just spend the CP in order to go first, in order to take your Skyweavers and put them up the board and put them just right on the line, and then move them out. So, you know, that's cool. It's such a flexible unit. I still think that they're really good. I absolutely love them. I know that I'm gonna get hate for people saying that Skyweavers are still really, really good, but that's just what I think about them. Obviously, again, if this was any other tier list, they would be an S tier, but for this one, I'm trying to be as strict as possible. So yeah, they're gonna be in B tier right now. All right, so now we're gonna move on to our heavy support. Heavy support, we have a Void Weaver. Also, if you guys hear something in the background on this microphone, it's because it is raining and we have a skylight. That's what you're hearing. But yeah, let's go on to this Void Weaver. This guy, this thing's just straight up D tier. This is like one of the worst units in this Harlequins Codex. It's so bad. You get your 16-inch move. Can advance 6 inches automatically, just like all of your other, like your Skyweavers and your Star Weavers, but it's only one model for 90 points. 3 of these guys cost 270 points. That's only 5 points less than a unit of 5 Skyweavers, which covers up more ground, can move block more effectively. And yeah, I mean, like the Void Weaver comes on the same base size as a Star Weaver, but the Void Weaver, it can't transport any models. So therefore, I don't think it's very good. You can give it a prismatic cannon. I don't know why. The prismatic cannon is only like one. You either get D6 shots or D3 shots, or 1 shot on one model. That is awful. Why would I ever take that? It's not good. Haywire cannon, obviously, if you take 5 Skyweavers, you get more Haywire cannons than you would with just 1 Void Weaver. The Void Weaver is T5. Whereas, you know, your Skyweavers are T4. You get your -1 to hit, but it's expensive. I don't think that's worth it at all. The weapons kind of suck. It's just not as good as a Skyweaver. I don't know why you would take a Void Weaver when you can take a Skyweaver. It's the same thing with a Solitaire. Why would you take the Solitaire when you can take a Troop Master and do pretty much the same thing? Yeah, Void Weaver sucks. That's all I'm going to say about that. Next, we have everybody's favorite... How do we say that? Everybody's favorite Eldar Fortification, the Webway Gate. This thing is god fucking awful. I would put it in F tier if I could. If there was an, I'm gonna add a new tier and I'm gonna call it F tier. I'm gonna call it Void Weaver tier. That's how bad this thing is. Add a row below. Yeah, we're gonna call this one fucking Void Pit. Yeah, this this is shit on the floor tier. This thing's absolutely terrible. I fucking hate this thing. I don't even know why this thing even exists. It looks cool. No, it does. It actually doesn't even look cool. Like, it's just like, it's 2 prongs that go up and then like, that's literally it. And you have to feel in the rules. It literally says that you have to field it and you have to like place the stuff together 5 inches apart. So like, it doesn't even come with like its own base stand. I don't think it doesn't win in the cool factor, and it doesn't win in the game factor. It's a fortification, which means that it has to be more than 3 inches away from any building naturally. But the Webway Gate also has an additional rule where it can't even be near a fucking objective marker for 3 inches. So where the hell are you gonna put this damn thing? I don't know. I don't think it's I think it's cool if you're maybe doing like a fluff game, but even if it's a fluff game, I think you're better off just like 3D printing a better looking Webway Gate that you can find on something like Thingiverse. I don't see the point of this thing. This thing pisses me off. It like looks at me and I'm like, this isn't even a model. That's why in the beginning I said there's only 8 models. I don't consider the Webway Gate a fucking model. I think it's fucking awful. You get a 5-up, so its pros is that it has 14 wounds, which is cool. It also has a 5-up invuln. Its cons, it has a 5-up invuln. Everything else in the Harlequins Codex has a 4-up invuln, but this one has a 5-up invuln. Also on top of that, when somebody hits it in the fight phase, their attacks automatically hit. They don't even make a hit roll. It literally, their rule literally says that they automatically get hit. And then when they die, the units that were put in reinforcements fucking die. Why would you take this fucking thing? This thing is so, I can literally rant for an entire like video just talking about the webway gate and how useless it is. It is so bad. Fuck, dude, maybe, I don't know. It's sold out on GW, so maybe there's fucking people, maybe people found some way that the webway gate is good. Maybe with the new Drakari Codex, it's really good. I don't fucking know. As of right now, what I'm looking at, it looks awful, and I'm sorry for people where you say that the webway gate's your favorite model. I'm sorry, I think that it's terrible. Costs 95 fucking points. I don't know. I don't know why you would get this. With the strategic reserves and stuff, I think that GW just needs to remake all fortifications at this point because there's no point in bringing almost any kind of fortification. You know what we should do? We should do a fortifications tier list and see which one's like the best fucking fortification because there's so many bad fortifications out there. Agreed. Yeah, agreed. Okay. Listen, and guys, listen, if you're mad about fortifications, I'm mad too. I literally bought a Spore Assist because I thought it was a cool fortification. Can't even bring it to a table unless I tailor the map in my favor in order to run it, which isn't very cool. Anyways, that is the tier list. These are all the models. There's 8 of them, not 9. There are 8 models. And yeah, that's it. That's pretty much it. As you can see, we have it where there's 5 in the S and A tier, and then the rest are kind of just like staggered across. I tried to talk about these units more in depth to kind of like give you guys more insight as to why they are in their specific tiers. But yeah, that's it. Yeah, I bet you guys weren't expecting this video to be so long, huh? Fuck y'all. I could rant forever. Thank you guys for watching. If you guys like this tier list, leave a thumbs up. If you guys disagree with me, leave a comment down below. Make sure you guys hit the subscribe button. And also, make sure that you guys send stuff over to our P.O. box. It is our new P.O. box. We will open up anything that you guys send to us as long as it has a return address. We'll record it for our video. And yeah, so if you guys have letters, if you want to send us models, if you guys want to send us whatever you guys want, we'll make a video out of it and it'll be a great time. So anyways, thank you guys for tuning in, and I'll see you guys on the next video when we have so many tier lists to come out.